Art and technology have always been seen as two different sides of the world, but they actually shape each other. And so does the artist. Art has always changed its perspective and its form with the technological advancement. And with every technological advancement, the artists have started creating their own masterpieces accordingly to the era and the technology and the audience. With this, I, Pramod Wadappi, welcome you all to the yet another episode of Espresso Minds.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Espresso Minds podcast. We are here to make the future a little less scary with the great conversations we are going to have about AI to VR and everything in between. Let's brew up some great coffee and have some great conversations. Welcome all.
Today, we have two incredible guests with us. One is our first guest, that is Keerthi Kumar, who is the man behind the Atmos, an organization that creates immersive theater experiences, crafting lightscape, choreography, and production design that makes performances unforgettable. Our second guest tonight is Varsha, a teacher who is directing at the Arts Collective, Dhara Arts Collective at Bangalore, a great Bharatanatyam performance, a very great dear friend of mine who has readily agreed to be part of the show. Thank you so much, Varsha, and thank you, Kirti, for accepting the invitation and being part of our show. It's an honor to have you guys on our show here.
Thank you, Pramod.
A pleasure, Pramod. Thank you for inviting us.
I know the introduction is not to the level that you guys have achieved in your careers, but we try as uh, much as we can. So thank you again. So let's start with the podcast. The main agenda for this particular podcast is to talk about the stage performances, the traditional arts that Indian culture has, and how it is adapting and changing with the new technologies that are coming into the future. That is AI, the Chat GPT, and other applications that are coming in. So, how is the traditional art forms and theater practices that are adapting to the new technologies and the new form of audiences, the Gen Z, the Zen Alpha, or the millennial that we are having? How are they adapting and being a part of this advancement along with the change? Is what we are going to discuss today. Let's start with very basic. Uh, Art has always been a reflection of its time, correct? So, how do you think Bharatanatyam and the theater experiences overall has evolved with time? Kirti, if you could speak about it first.
The question itself is, first of all, opening out a very large canvas in front of us. We are talking about centuries of art, performances, how it has got created, how it has been presented, and how it has been consumed by several, millions of people across generations. So, at the outset, if you have to look at the Indian context, we have a very wonderful story, okay, from the Bible of Indian dance and dramaturgy. The book is called Natyashastra, okay, and in India, everything is garbed in mythology. Whether it is science, whether it is our day-to-day practices, likewise, even dance and dramaturgy, the whole idea of performances has been garbed in mythology, and it's been put together in a book, with 36 chapters. It's called Natyashastra. It was written. It is, it is said that it was written by Bharata Muni. There are several theories that there were several Bharata Munis, and it's also several people have added to this text. Is what we believe. So why I'm talking about Natyashastra is because this book is believed to have been written at least about 2000 years ago. If
Wow.
the book has been written then, we can then imagine at least for 500 to 600 years before that, a form of dance and dramaturgy and performances has existed. And that is what has got recorded. So that is the history, and that is sort of the trajectory of performing arts in the Indian context. And in that, we have detailed description of how a stage needs to be, how a theater needs to be constructed, what are the different areas, how should it be lit, how should the actors enact a certain character, and what is the feeling within, and how is the emotion conveyed to the audience, and we also have ideas of what is a successful show, and then ideas of creating an obeisance, an invocation, so that the show goes off, the play goes off well, and also there is prosperity in the kingdom. The performing arts has always spoken about the larger good in our context. So this is really the history. So if you go back several thousand years ago, and even back then, if we see, was stagecraft utilized? Yes, it was utilized. Was there a very strong color theory? Yes, there was a color theory. What we speak about today as color theory, emotion, tables that talk about emotion, and then about also the voice throw. All of this has been existent even back then. And along the way, with every little invention, with every little tech aspects coming in, whether it was lighting through little lamps back in the day, or maybe through just with the daylight, through sunlight, which is filtered through maybe leaves and branches, or maybe through tiles, which was placed in such a way that light would fall onto the stage in a certain way. Or along the way, when candles were invented, and then candlelit chandeliers were invented. If you go back to the whole era of how the French ballet, ballet is supposed to have become a big deal in Europe. Uh, and there we see that in those theaters, chandeliers with the candles were there, and there are candles all across, and with respect to lights. And then the halls were built with great acoustics, so that even if an actor stands on stage and delivers the dialogue, the last person in the audience is still able to listen to it. So that way, whether it's a construct of the theater, or the voice projection of the artist, or the way the place has been lit, and the way the actors or the performers take the light, with respect to all of these aspects, even with respect to the way instruments were played, the how loud a certain instrument is, and how that is balanced with another counter melody. So things like they've all been thought through, and ensemble music has always been thought through. So I'm speaking from the perspective of the construct of the venue, the lighting, the sound, the acoustics, voice projection, even the colors the people, the performers wore. In fact, if we come back to our own folk theatre form from coastal Karnataka in Yakshagana, or let's say Kathakali, again we have some really wide usage of colors. Each color depicts a certain characteristic. If a person is showcasing an evil character, they wear a certain color, and they wear on certain costumes of a certain volume. And then again, how these would look, because these were all done in the open air, in the fields, and they only had these little lamps, or fire sticks that were actually lighting them up. So how would these colors react to that? What was the material they were using? And handicrafts were part of this whole thing, right? And from there it's evolved. Then came the era of electricity, and then that changed a lot of things. And then we had bulbs, we still have filament bulbs, and then their power consumption and things like that. Then now we have moved to LED fixtures, which consume much lesser power, and they have no, it's much more easier to handle them and things like that. So it's been really a lot of transformation that has happened across the eras. But one thing has remained constant, which is the artists have evolved. They have adapted and adopted the changes, the transformations that are happening in terms of tech, in terms of venues, in terms of what people want to consume as art forms. And that's what they have adapted, and they have brought the themes into their performances, and they continue to perform. And even if you have to talk about our time of existence, especially in India, around the time the country got its independence, there was a big nationalist movement when it comes to revival of art forms. Especially the classical arts was was not really encouraged. They were all put down through the laws that were created during the British era, and before that, during some invasions, maybe 800 to 1,000 years ago, especially in North India, the Kathak dancers were silenced, the Gungrus were silenced, and then they were revived in some other courts, in king's courts and in Nawab's courts, who were benevolent and who wanted art forms to flourish. And then then we saw the transformation into the proscenium theatre, and now we are seeing not just proscenium theatre, but we are also looking at site-specific works. And we have also now moved to the digital space. We are creating content for the screen. From creating full-length films, we've also started creating content for 30-second reels, 10-second snippets, 5-second snippets. So it's a very rapidly changing landscape. And along with this, from art, artists, technology, and the consumption of it, everything is evolving. And likewise, the product has also been evolving.
That's an excellent answer. But I agree to what Keerthi said about the colors. Like if a particular person has an evil character, there was a particular color that was assigned to it. Even the VFX that we have. Like I'll take a very brief and a very wide example of Mahabharat, of VR Chopra Mahabharat, and the Mahabharat that we recently had of Swastik Productions. So if you see at that side, like the Shakuni Mama's entire wardrobe in the entire series was black. So is in the new one, because black portrayed as at that time the black portrayed as the evil character, or the even in TV serials I've seen this, wherein the vamp or the bad character will be wearing black color wardrobes, stating that this is an evil character, and that is something that has come to the mindset of people as well, wherein where we go to buy some black t-shirts, or women may go to buy some black saris or anything. They're like, no, 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 no black. Not black. It's the mindset. But at the same time, what you said, sir, that is correct. Uh, uh, the art form has evolved in a very distant way, and in a way it has changed with respect to the audience as well. Varsha, you're a Bharatanatyam dancer. I have a question. So we have seen Bharatanatyam now going very digital, right? Earlier it was wherein people used to come to the classes, and they used to take the classes uh, with uh, with the guru and the shishya having an interaction, a physical interaction happening. But now, I think post COVID, or even before COVID, also I have seen wherein people used to take online classes. So my question to you is, can this Bharatanatyam overall as an art form can be experienced through screen, not just for the teaching perspective, even as me as a viewer and you as a performer? If you are performing somewhere, and if I am sitting at some part of the world and I cannot attend your event physically, uh, do you think I would be missing out something if I am sitting at my own house and viewing a performance, rather than me being actually present at the theater and watching a performance live?
Yeah. So let me just divide this question into two aspects. One is like the teaching and learning aspect, and then maybe the performance aspect of it. Okay. In my perspective, um, online is an option to vouch for definitely for many of the many people who can't like attend the offline or in-person sessions, maybe if it is not feasible for them, or maybe if they want to reach out to an artist who's actually like maybe in some other place, not in their proximity. Online is a great option, definitely. But does it have the same magic as the in-person classes? I would have to think a little about it, because I truly know the energy or the that we actually get in that in-person classes, that to and fro energy between a teacher and a student, or even between the students, the peer-to-peer interactions, and what it can actually create and develop in a child's mind is definitely not. It's unimaginable sometimes, because I also have students who are attending online classes with me, but they would love to come for the in-person classes. They'll be waiting for those like 2 or 3 months break in the summer where they want to attend for those in-person classes. So also, are there no pros for online classes? I wouldn't say that, because I know that many platforms are actually giving recordings, or they're actually helping out in few techniques of the body movement, or the basic composition of a dance piece. So considering all these things, definitely online class is not something where it has only cons. Definitely no. But in my perspective, as I told, the offline mode has its own magic and wonders. And I would, on a similar line, coming to the performance also, as you told, like if you are actually maybe living far away, but you want to watch the performance, definitely. I mean, this is the first thing that even we as dancers sometimes ask, like fellow artists, like I really want to be at your show, but due to unfortunate reasons, I won't be there. Will I get a link, or the online streaming platforms where I can actually see the show? But even we know that it is unmatched to the experience of in-person viewing. But as Keerthi sir told, there are many, many companies, many dance companies, many theater companies who are actually creating content for the online platforms. So I feel in that regard, when you are very sure of the audience where you want to reach, if you want to reach the online audience, I know that you will curate your work, be it the lighting, be it the cinematography, everything for the online for the online audience. So that would be a great option. But let's say if a performance is actually typically made for a theater, for an auditorium setup, I would definitely go in and watch that performance in person. But if that is not feasible, definitely the streaming links. Yeah, if Keerthi sir wants to add something here.
Sure. So my perspective is this: the digital viewing is here to stay. We can't deny that, and we have to. There's only one way. We have to embrace, or rather, I would say, all of us have embraced it to a large extent. Again, like how Varsha rightly pointed out, the most important thing is if we are delivering our content, if you're delivering our performance to an audience who's watching it online on screen, then we have to curate that performance to suit that medium. For example, how we go in the same performance actually changes in every venue we go to, because we are adapting that performance to that venue, to that day, to that audience. That is what makes dance or performing arts ephemeral. It is happening then and there, right? On the other hand, if it is well thought through, if it's curated, in fact, I have been at the helm of several dance film projects where I have directed and edited and presented the works. Even shows that are actually presented as in the proscenium, I have restructured them so that an online an audience can also experience it like how they would if they were to watch it in a theater, or on the other hand, how they can experience the essence of the performance on screen. We don't need to replicate it because these are two different mediums. We should never say that, I want to get the same experience like how I get it in a theater. For that, come to the theater. But on the other hand, if you want to experience the essence of the performance, then there are ways to make that happen. With the help of good cinematography, with the help of good lighting for the screen, good sound for the screen, and with phenomenal editing. Also, with especially dance films, the choreography actually happens on the editing table more than the performance itself. So that's how we restructure things.
Let's go on to the next part of it. Is that my question is to Kirti sir now. Uh, when we see a particular theatric performance, right? We just see the final spectacle, but we know there's an entire ecosystem of planning, coordination, and technology behind it. So I have two questions to you. First question is, how is this entire ecosystem of behind the scenes uh, for a performance that you're curating for the online, as you said, for VR audiences or anything, and how is it different to a actual theatrical, traditional theatric performance when people come to the theater and watch the show? What is the behind the scenes process? If you could just give us a glimpse of it.
So when we talk about behind the scenes, we are first of all talking about choosing a certain theme, then putting together the storyboard, and then creating the movementscape, the original. I'm talking about original works only because that's what I'm mostly involved in.
Correct.
And I'm talking about creating original music, the costume designing for that. Then we get into the production design aspects of it, the stage lights, props, sets, the scenery, all of those things, and then the blocking comes into picture. Then actually writing the libretto and actually musical analysis, all of that, and then working with the actors, dancers, the cast, basically cast of the show, whether it is a solo act or a large ensemble act. These are all the basic things. These are all the constants. Then we work with the artists, create the work. Then we have previews. Then in the previews, we test out a few things. We see what is working, what's not working. In most cases, we bring a few peers from the industry, some scholars, some experts, for a peer review, to sort of test the waters and see what is the perspective that they give. And then not every feedback needs to be taken. I am a firm believer of that. Whether it is from scholars, peers, or audiences, it's always good to listen to feedback. But then what you incorporate in your work is still it is your discretion and how you want to take it ahead. Yeah. So, but listening to feedback and accepting feedback is very critical. So that happens in the preview time of the show, and then the premiere happens. Then the premiere itself is the very first time it's being put out in the public, and then how the show is coming together. And for that, the show day, leading up to the show day, typically we are talking about getting to the theater, setting up the theater or the performance area. It could be even a site specific work, right, wherever it is that we are performing. So setting that place up, putting all the elements together, from equipment to crew to everybody, briefing them, clearly planning each one's role and responsibilities, all the actionable pieces in the jigsaw that come together, and then the tech rehearsals, and then finally the show. And then how are you documenting the show? What is happening before? Are you having a pre-show shoot, promotion? See, on one hand is the marketing side of things, right? We can't just keep creating work. We also need to promote it. So what are we doing to promote the work, to get material? And then how are we putting it out to the public, saying, inviting them to come and watch the show? How's the ticketing being handled? How's the seating being handled? All of that. And then the show itself happens. And after the show, if let's say the show is documented, how is the post show? How is that being treated? How is that information being sent out? And then the thing is, each time we create a show, I believe that the show itself is an entity. The show is larger than the artist involved in it. That becomes an entity, and that has a life of its own. And how do we sort of help push the life of that particular entity? Where do we take it? What is it? And again, right at the beginning, in fact, these are all things that, as creators of performances, we keep in mind. Who's our audience? Where do we want to take this? These are common things, whether it is the shows virtually presented or presented in a in-person scenario. No changes in that. Where it changes is the kind of venue, the kind of tech involved, then the kind of crew, and then if it is to do with digital content, then the post-production, it has its own planning coming up to the shoot day, and then if you're looking at AI and VR and all of those aspects, then how is that coming into picture? And then what is the post-processing time? And budgets and things like that are put together. Budgets, of course, are there for both. We work the cost sheet out and all of that. And then what is the medium of delivery, whether it is a platform like YouTube or some other platform, or a Patreon, or a platform where you subscribe to that and invite audiences to come and watch you on that. So again, medium of delivery is something that we need to think about. And then, are we talking about, if it's Instagram, are we talking about the vertical film, between the portrait and the landscape, which format, and then what is the conversion between this and that? It's a lot of thinking that happens when it is if it's to do with screen, and then of course, if it's a stage, then if it's theaters and performance areas, then we also have to talk about think about creating the tech rider and creating the specs for the show. That will be sort of that can be sent across to different venues, and how can we adapt the performance to different venues? These are all the things, all these put together are part of the making of a show. and that is what finally it's put out and the audience comes and watches it, right? So it's a very elaborate task with many minds involved in it, many people working together. There are several hands that come together, and uh, in most cases good shows, we need professionals working on it. That is key to it. We need the right crew, right cast coming together and making a show happen. So and finally reaching out to, I always say this: every artist, every show has a market, has an audience base. The onus is on the artist to tap into their market and to build their market, to build their audience base. So this is really the way things are.
I love the way you explained Instagram as a vertical film. Uh, uh, that is one of the best example, best description I've ever heard of Instagram. But having said, I want to talk about a show has stores everywhere across the globe or across the globe they have it. So I want to talk about, as you said earlier, that your performance, the theme of course remains the same, the foundation remains the same, but how difficult, or how do you curate your performances or a bit of the story according to the viewers to where you're performing?
So there can be elements of the show that we can tweak to suit that audience, to suit that city or that culture or that region. There can be there we can I'm saying in the conceptualization stage itself, we can think about elements that can be tweaked along the way,
Hmm.
right? The base can remain the same. On the other hand, there are productions which are designed and only that travels as it is, because we want to showcase that to the different audiences all across the globe. So that's also happened. So it's always, we need to take a call as to what the requirement is, and based on that, tweak or maybe not tweak our performance. That's really the way it works.
Okay. The reason why I wanted to talk about this is there is a question to you both, because in the recent trends that we have seen in 2023 or 2024, there has been a 225% ticketing raise sales in tier 2 and tier 3 cities for theater and performances, right? So you both go on tours. I've seen Varsha going on tours for her shows, and you as well. I've heard and I've seen it, for that matter. So I want to know how is the audience changing with respect to the metro cities or to the tier 2 or tier 3 cities? How is the audience, the age? I'm asking about the age as well, because I've seen most the youngsters who are bringing going into the theaters, and like I have seen my own brother who has gone to many theaters. Our family is more of a theater loving family more than a movie loving family. So we go to mostly to Marathi theaters, or Marathi plays, Gujarati plays, Hindi plays. We go in there, and few of it in Kannada plays as well. So I want to understand the perspective of how it is performing in these three, and how good you feel when you see like the reach that you are able to do it now, not just in metro cities, but even in tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well.
Yeah, sure. See, I'm somebody who very strongly believes that, especially in India, in the times that we are living in, the tier 2, tier 3 cities are the biggest market, and it's not explored well at all. And the thing is, there is so much content in the metros, and all of us are creating so much. I'm constantly striving to take many of the shows that I'm involved into these places. And each time we go there, it's amazing. The response is fantastic. And we also sometimes tweak. When coming to a good example to tweak a certain production is to make it multilingual. Today we're talking about pan-Indian films, right? It's no different for our shows also. We I have been part of shows where we have translated some bits of it to the language, based on the region that we are taking to. The same production has been done in Kannada, in English, in Hindi, in Telugu, and in Tamil also, right? So that way, based on where we are taking it, we can tweak it, and that way we are able to reach out to a much wider audience. And that is really the next big market in our country. We don't need to really be bothered about going and performing in our own cities, in the same metros, in the same auditorium. There is a big market out there. Though again, I always believe the onus is on the artist. It's on us to take our work out there and to make our work accessible. We can't sit on a high horse and say, on a pedestal and say, this is where I'm going to be performing. You come and watch me. Gone are the days. How do we make our art accessible, and how do we give ownership to the audiences? How do we give ownership on our work to our audiences? So that is key to this whole thing.
Correct. Varsha, I have seen your perspective, because I have heard last time when we talked, you said you had gone to a few villages for performance and even to teaching the students, and you said the parents were asking you if there's an online facility for you to teach, though you're staying in the metro city, you can do that. So I wanted to understand your perspective on this.
Yeah. As Keerthi sir told, the tier 2, tier 3 cities, the potential that actually lies in that cities is still a little unexplored. Okay. And when you just pointed out 200% of, close to 200% of the ticket sales or something like that, that itself tells the interest that actually lies about all these art forms in the people. Okay. And uh, I'm very glad that there's a ticket raise. And first of all, I believe in uh, you know ticketing the shows. Okay.
Yes.
This has been, at least the Indian theater, I feel it was always ticketed. I have never seen, I have also watched few shows which were done for free, but most of it, at least like the 85%, 80 to 85% of the Indian theater, Indian plays for that matter, were always ticketed. Now to see that the classical dance forms, the shows and all these performances to be ticketed, it's a very glad change that I am coming across. Okay. And coming to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities, it's not that it's very unaccessible for them to actually for all these art forms. It's just that I've also heard people say that there was a dancer, there were dancers or there were teachers and performers in their locality, but most of them have moved to tier 1 cities. So it's not that they were not present there, they were still there. But now that they have come here, most of their work is happening in tier 1 cities. So what can be done is to just take them to all these other cities and just showcase your work. That's all.
Okay.
Okay. Like I remember watching an interview of a movie star, where he's still successful in his films, so all his films are still doing well. But he also chooses to come to the television medium, and very nicely he quotes that, "See, my films comes like in a year maybe 3 or 4 times. So, but the television, they make me appear on the screens of all the TVs, like let's say weekly 2 times."
Correct.
So he's pointing it out that I'm being more accessible to the crowd in all the cities, but yeah, tier 2 and tier 1, tier 3 cities. And he's been able to like show up more times. So for that matter, it is, as Keerthi sir told, it's the responsibility of the artist to actually go out and showcase your work.
I want to now talk about the technology part of it. Since this is Espresso Minds, we are going to talk more about technology now. So I wanted to ask this question to both of you, but first Kirti sir, because he's a stage performer and the designer. I wanted to ask, now there are a lot of there is AI that is coming into every part of it. Correct. We have AI music, we have AI paintings, we have AI work that is being sold out like in millions and stuff. So I want to understand, has AI scripts or AI come into this particular industry as well? And if they have, or if they are going to be a part of it, how is it that your creative mindset, uh, your script that you have created, writing it down with your research, with your experiences, and me with an AI tool just writing the base, like create a script for this particular with this baseline, create a script. How different it is, and how do you think people would be willing to accept it?
Again, we'll have to go back to what we discussed sometime earlier, which is there is only one way, which is to embrace the new things that are coming in.
Correct.
And AI is huge right now, and it's growing at an extremely rapid pace, and we have to keep up with it. Okay, that's a fact. And I would say at this point, of course, there's a lot of debate happening, especially in the creative space with respect to the use of AI. Of course, I'll definitely touch upon the most recent Ghibli episode. The
Yes.
entire world is talking about.
Yes.
We'll get to that. I also have my own take about it. But anyway, just even before that, the very idea of, since you spoke about scripts, about coming up with themes and scripts, um, of course AI can do it. Of course, ChatGPT can throw up so many options at the moment you give one baseline, no doubt. And it's all about, at this point, I'm sure my answer is going to change over the next, I would say, 3 months, or maybe lesser than that, because that's the rate at which things are moving forward.
Correct.
At least as of now, my take on this, having explored this a bit, I'm saying that it is a good tool to use to assist you in your thinking, to assist you in putting together things. Let's say I have a thought, and I put together a few things, and then I feed that as a prompt. Then I can take the help of AI tools to structure it in a certain way. What I would have spent, several hours writing and structuring, I'm now making ChatGPT do that in a few seconds.
Correct.
I'm still in the zone where I'm using it as a tool, where I'm using these tools as an assistant to me. On the other hand, let's say we go a little more deeper into it. Let's say we work on stable diffusion, and softwares and programs like these. The line is very blurred, where at a point the system starts using you as its assistant, where you're going on feeding data for it to come up with something. Okay, so it's always at this point I feel that we are in this in this zone where we need to see at what point the software is my assistant and at what point I become the assistant to the software. Okay, so that's really the thing one needs to think about. As artists, we need to think about it. And I'm not saying this is good, bad. I'm right now at this point where I'm not able to judge. That is a fact. I'm not able to. It's not because I don't want to. I really am not able to, because we don't know where this is leading, right? But we go along with the flow. We try to explore. We see to what extent we can play with it. Okay, and then see the pros and cons of it, and maybe then come back to a point where we are comfortable working with it, right? So, but for that to happen, we need to give in. We need to explore. We need to really see where this is taking us. So I'm in that zone today. Is it helping? I would say yes. At this point, it is helping. Will this make certain jobs redundant? Yes, it will. There's no denying that it will make jobs redundant. Like how that we have seen with technology, right? Telegram is now not existent anymore.
Correct.
As simple as that, right? And there are several departments, several industries that have shut down because technology has changed. So likewise, very soon, very soon? Already, many companies are not hiring coders because AI tools are coding 90% of the coding work for big MNCs.
Correct.
Large scale coding is happening already, right?
Yes.
So, and we are already looking at. I've come across films that are being made by AI completely, from the script to camera angles to everything has been created by AI tools, and it's being done. And of course, simple things like logo design and digital work is happening left, right, center. There's no, I think that's already flooded the market, right? So even with choreography, we are seeing how to with production design, with choreography, we are seeing this happen. We are seeing scripts being written. We are seeing not just writing a script. We are in detail. The blocking is also being given, right? So it is definitely happening. and we need to see to what extent they're able to adapt that and adopt it in our lives.
So currently, I would say you're taking Chat GPT or AI tools as your friend, as a tool which is helping you to enhance the work that you're doing. Am I
Yeah, yeah,
am I correct? But do you
yeah,
think
yeah,
that
definitely.
that is going to change?
I'm sure it's already changing. As we are speaking, there are millions of changes that are happening. So yeah, it is going to change, no doubt.
Perfect. Varsha?
But I still
Yeah.
believe, even after all these things, um, what is going to last, irrespective of whatever happens, is uh, the creative mind that human beings have.
Huh.
That is and what we call as human touch to a subject, that is very hard to replicate at this point, is what I would want to believe.
Correct.
I don't know if I'm going to be proven wrong soon. I don't know. But I'm saying I still believe in the human touch, in the phenomenal ability of the human mind.
Agreed. Varsha, your take on this? Agreed?
Yeah, totally agreed. And just what Sir told in at the last, that human touch and that creative mind space is something, I feel, at least in my experience, up until now, I'm not able to see that in AI. So, I mean, also in one of my experiences, I'm not that proficient in Sanskrit. So I wanted some verse to be like literally translated, but I also needed their, the metaphors involved in it, like what are they actually trying to tell. So just the easier way, the chat GPT helped me give the literal meaning of it. So I was like, okay, yeah, this word means this word means this. So that was sorted. Then I went to a Sanskrit scholar. So I didn't tell that I have already got the literal meaning. I wanted her to just read the entire the verse and tell me what she had to tell. She almost gave me 2 to 3 pages of the metaphorical meaning, what it means, or what it might have meant at that time of its writing, how it can be interpreted. In, I mean, all these interpretations are like in two or more ways that she's giving. So I was just wondering. I mean, I'm not telling that uh, AI won't be able to do that. It might. I mean, it might in future, definitely. But at least as of now, in my experience, I was able to get that, that creative mind space or that human touch with the actual scholar. But AI definitely helped me to understand um at least the basic of it. Yeah.
Let's just
Yeah, and adding to you, Varsha, it's only a matter of time.
Yes.
Before you get, because these models are still not yet trained fully in our regional scripts, in
correct.
our Indic thoughts. Okay, if you're talking from the Indian artist perspective, so it's only a matter of time, and there are already several institutions working on it, feeding
Yes.
data, and it's very soon we should be able to get very scholarly material coming out of ChatGPT, no doubt. But with this question mark that's always going to be lurking around, like what has happened with the Ghibli episode, right? It's basically using up all the data and throwing up things in that format. How much of it is going to be called as plagiarism, right?
Yes.
Because it's only reinterpreting what it has been fed as a model. So how do you draw the line with plagiarism then? What
Yeah.
happens to content that humans have created then, right?
Yes.
It's a big discussion to have going further. This is what happened when film came into picture. So many choreography, so many musical bits were recorded for posterity. Then the question came about being, who owns it? Is it the
Yeah.
artist? Is it the label? Or is it the person
Yeah.
buying it? Or no? It's a big discussion, and that's happening till today. There's not much clarity, and slowly, organizations have come in. There are some rules have been put into place. Likewise, we don't know at this point about copyrights, ownership, plagiarism. We still don't know. There's a lot of debate happening. Maybe going further, some structures need to be in place so that there is some regulation. And then how do we break the law, and how do we find loopholes in the law to still get content out of it? It's an ongoing discussion. It's a very wide topic to actually talk about. But yes, it's here to stay, and we need to see how to proceed with it. That's again what I would say with this.
True. Because also, sir, we see that, yeah, there's AI to help us out with, let's say, some scripting or something else. But there's also an app for AI detector.
Correct.
Yeah. So
Of course, yeah.
so it's just not, along with the plagiarism, there's an AI detection tool. So obviously, let's say the higher authorities or whoever we are actually dealing with, they want the human content. The person actually writing his own thought process or whatever. So when it's almost like, having the two sides of a coin, you also create an AI medium,
Yeah.
but also you detect it.
But
So
there
No,
are
that's
there
what,
are
again,
applications wherein you have that you can humanize those AI content that you're getting now.
yeah, that is also
yes.
there, definitely.
No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it's basically one layer on the top of other. It's getting very complicated. That is a fact. Even with this
Yeah.
whole Ghibli trend, the thing is, we can talk about plagiarism with respect to this, but again, on the other hand, this is art being made accessible to everybody now,
Everybody.
right?
Yeah.
Again, are we okay with it? See, the thing is that, are we okay with it? Are we not okay with it? That's again the thing. And also, this is, and how as it is, as we are speaking, the trend is already fallen off, right? It was only those 4 or 5 days it was booming all across the world, and now it's slowly sort of fading away. I'm sure by tonight or tomorrow something else is going to come up. And
Yes.
see,
Yes.
this is a constant process. So again, the thing is, how are we going to deal with all these things? That's the thing. Okay, and where is our moral compass in this? That is a very individualistic perspective. As human beings, as artists, as creators, as consumers of art, we need to sort of figure out our moral compass finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. To what Keerthi said about Gilbil act art, right? I was always against it because I read a book called Your Face Belongs to Us by Kashmir Hill. I'll not name the company, but it's very famous in the US, wherein it takes your face images without your permission, and it has been used for a lot of other reasons, and that has scared me to my death. So when this happened, I remember my friend actually did it. We had gone for a trip, and he used that one of our trip photos on ChatGPT, the free version, and he got the Gilbil art of all four of us. But you cannot identify us. It's like it's all similar. All four faces are similar, right? And the one thing that and I've posted this on my social media channels also, is that I am absolutely against it for two reasons. First reason is that it's a tight slap on the artist, stating that he has worked so hard, his organization, his art has worked so hard to make it relevant, to make sure that people actually know about it, right? But people are not, they don't even know the artist who actually created it. They just know it like Gilbil art, that's it. But they don't know the artist who actually founded it, who started working on it. They don't know that person, right? And the second reason why I was absolutely against is because it was just a medium for the AI tools to collect your face features without any legal authorizations or anything. If you just post your pic on your chat GPT and you just say that I want Gilbil art so that I can be trending on social media and I get few likes and few posts and few followers, it's okay. Chat GPT will give you the Gilbil art form or any other stick image also of your, it will give it to you. But at what cost? You're actually selling your face just so that you can get few likes. This is something that was
That haven't we all already sold, Pramod? We've sold our entire lives already. Today I sit at home. I have a random conversation about some let's say some headphones, and the next moment I get ads of that headphones on my Instagram.
oh
So
yeah.
Yes.
basically, we have sold our lives. Okay, that's already there. Information is all sold. I believe that there's nothing. In the Indian philosophy, always believed that nothing belongs to us. Okay, in today in the virtual world, it has become a fact. There is nothing that we have
Yeah.
ownership on. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Somebody
Also,
is
like,
utilizing our data somewhere. Yeah.
Correct.
And also this privacy itself has become a myth, you know.
Yeah, yeah. There is nothing called
I
privacy
agree.
anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's a myth. It's a myth. That's all it is. That's already done, and we can't do much about it. Then again, I know of a few people who don't want to be in the digital map in the world at all, and they don't have gadgets, they don't have devices, they're completely off the grid. There are people who are living that life as well. So
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing is, no, our world is filled with people of different mindsets and of different interests. So there is a space for everything and for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
But unfortunately, I am a person who hates Instagram. But I am now on Instagram because of this podcast, because I have to showcase, I have to post on reels and all those kind of things. Because of that, I have to be on Instagram, and because of that, I am always scrolling. You know, I plan to do it for 15 minutes. I have a timer, so 15 minutes is my timer. After that, I close it. But 15 का आधा घंटा कब हो जाता है? I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, yeah.
So that is one thing that I'm absolutely against. Even my fiance or my brother, I tell them that I do not like clicking my own pictures. I do not like clicking posting it on social media, no matter what happens. I'm absolutely against that, and that's the reason this conversation happened, right? The Gilbil art or the AI being a part of this particular art form. So coming on to the next part, the next segment of it. So now we talked about how AI is part of our life, is part of this industry, not just industry, every damn industry that we have now. I want to understand which are those softwares and tools that you use on your day-to-day basis. Kirti sir, with you as the designer, and Varsha, you as a performer. I want to understand what are those softwares and tools that you use on day-to-day basis, which helps you improve your performances and which helps you ease the work. Varsha,
Okay.
if you could
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, actually, to be frank, I'm not using as many as that available in the market. uh, I yeah,
Can
for
you
my
talk about the ones that are available in the market, like your peers might be using it or anything?
I mean, actually, in the last conversation that we had, when Keerthi sir pointed out there was some app which was giving the formations or the choreography of it, and I heard one of my friend also talk about it. I was like, okay, so you guys knew. I mean, I was really unaware of that. I'm still not using it, but I know that my friends are using that. I sorry, I forgot that name. And for my practice, I do use metronomes. I mean, there are several apps which give me the clicks, and there's also an app which is called Jalra. It's also, I mean, yeah, it is a metronome, but also it gives me the percussion instrument options also. So that somehow hearing to the instrument makes me energized, so I use that. And for few audio editing and recording and all, I use Audacity. For video purpose, I use VideoPad editor, and maybe other two. I'm really not the names are not coming up to my mind as of now. So these are the very basic apps that I actually use as of now. As I told, I'm not using as many as they're available in the market, or maybe some of it I'm not even aware that they're there. So yeah, as of now, these are the ones. Yeah.
Mhm. Kirti sir?
Of course, I use many apps, and I still feel uh, there is so much more that I don't know about, and I want to learn. That is the space that I'm always left with. Uh, from the basic things, if I have to talk about in my classes, I definitely use my Lyra app. The Lyra Ultimate Pro. That's something that's always there because it's good. Back in the day, we used to have live a musician playing live for us, even in class, playing harmonium, the lira, and the tabla. But today we have the help of an app, and it's so much more easier, accessible. I can do my practice anywhere and at any given point in the time. And also, even with classes, even with online classes and things like that, when I do that, so the app becomes an important aspect. Then coming to other things, other simple apps definitely that I use are Canva, and on my on my system I use Photoshop, of course. for my graphic design work. And when it comes to video creation, video editing, I used to use Pinnacle Studio back in the day. Then I got to Premiere Pro for a while, but now I'm very well settled with the DaVinci Resolve. So I use DaVinci Resolve for a lot of my work. I create multimedia files and also do a lot of video editing and things like that on DaVinci Resolve. I do a lot of professional work on it. Then apart from that, for again show live playback, I use Resolume. Resolume is one of the professional softwares that professionals use all across the world. It's used by VJs especially, but I have restructured my work, and I use it for live triggers of animation and also for several playbacks. So I do a lot of work on Resolume in the Indian performing arts scenario. It's very unique, and in fact, I create my animation and files in such a way that I'm able to trigger it on Resolume. So for me, it's I try to connect the two. So in my mind, I know this is how this is how the show is going to play back. So I work backwards from there to create the file while I make my animation and videos. So things like that. So that is something that I always work with. These days, I'm also doing my audio edits on Resolve itself. Before, I used to work with SoundForge and Cubase. I used to record also on Cubase. I've done little recordings. I create my sound design and everything. But these days, I do my editings and all that sound editing on Resolve itself. And coming to some interesting software, especially in the lighting design scene, I'm trying my hand at lighting softwares like Chamsys, Grandeme, Avalite Titans. These are all softwares that we use again in a very professional setup. I'm not very proficient with it, but I'm hoping to get there someday. So I also look up several online tutorials to again upskill and up my game. And whenever I'm given a chance, I go and attend workshops physically. The technical workshops. The thing is, my background is I come from the aesthetic side of design. I'm a performing artist, so my thought process is always from the aesthetic side of things, from the design side of things. And for me, it's always an uphill task to learn the technical side of things, which I've gained over the years, and I still constantly strive to gain knowledge in that side of the aspect, because I work in the coming together of two sides. The aesthetic and the technical side. So for me, I need to put more effort on the technical side, because I have put in a lot of years of practice and gained some experience on the aesthetic side of things. So this is where I lack, I feel, and I'm constantly upgrading myself, and also trying to constantly look at ways in which I can make my workflow easier, because I work in multiple, I in the, for one show itself, I'm doing multiple things which are wide and varied, and I try to put together a workflow which helps me channelize all these things, and where I'm able to sort of meander and move through these aspects easily. So I'm working on those aspects. So aspirationally, I want to be a little more, sort of not adept, but I want to try my hand at Touch Designer and all these softwares. That will these are hardcore design structure softwares that big concerts and large productions use, and that is something that I'm very, very interested in to learn. I need to find time for that. For me right now, time is at a really a premium. I don't have the luxury of sitting down and just immersing myself in learning something, which I would love to do, but whatever little time I have on hand, I try to make the best use of it in doing these things.
I agree. A performer like you, who has been always traveling and with such great caliber, having time for yourself and at least doing this podcast itself is an honor for me. So thank you for that. But sir, are these
Pleasure.
softwares all free now, or do you have the pro version and free versions as well?
Most of the professional software that I use are all subscription and license based. And of course, as a professional, I have licenses for all of those things. That's how it works. Otherwise, I can't run shows on free softwares.
Free version.
That's mainly because it needs to be fail safe. It needs to be foolproof. And as professionals, we need to have our tools, right? As simple as that. That's why we are professionals, and that's why we are at the helm of running shows. So so that I use a lot of licensed softwares. And coming to the AI side of things, where I explore, where I just sort of hallucinate along with there's a term called AI hallucination. So I also hallucinate along with the AI, where I just go on to a zone, and that I do on things like stable diffusion, and giving random prompts to chat gpt, and also several image creating tools. So I come across so many of these, and I try my hand at all of these. So it's fun. It's just some I would say it is um, mindless surfing. At the same time, somewhere deep down, you know that you're also gaining some knowledge by doing that, and somewhere deep down I'm able to connect the dots. And so what I do today, what I let's say I engage with an app or a software on AI tool today, I know somewhere deep down that knowledge will trigger a thought while I'm working on something else. So it's always about associations. So that keeps me very excited.
That's great. Yeah, thank you. We'll of course put in all the description at the below, wherein you can try these particular softwares. And if you have any doubts, of course, we'll be tagging Keerthi sir and Varsha in it. You can of course reach out to them, and probably in the future we can have a workshop wherein both of you guys can come in and talk about the softwares and have their own individual workshops about it. Moving on to our last section, which is the fun section, wherein I can hear very interesting stories from both of you, and I've been looking forward for this. So I want to start with Keerthi sir first, because I'm pretty sure he has huge, big stories and amazing, interesting stories on this. So I wanted to ask is that have you faced moments where technology has failed at a very critical stage? You're performing and you're dependent on one particular software or a tech perspective, and it has stopped working. The worst case scenarios during live performances, anything. How have you adapted? And I want to know when this has happened.
Oh, it has happened so many times, I can tell you, and at critical junctures, where we have lost our minds. This is again when we are dependent on technology, right? There's only so much that we can do. Again, with experience, we do learn to understand that these with these many years of experience in handling consoles and being part of shows, sort of I've made like a checklist of things uh, which will help me in understanding that this show is going to be sort of fail safe, sort of foolproof, where the technology will not fail. Okay, even beyond that, it is failed. That's what I'm trying to tell. Again, we learn that with each show. That's the thing is, at least for me, I come from the experience of having done everything on trial and error basis, and having learned on the job, which means that in my initial years there were several things that failed, and that's how I learned. Several things that failed for me, several things I saw failing in other shows, and I watched it and learned from there. And speaking to the technicians, speaking to the people who work in the space, to understand how to deal with the situation, or to see how they deal with a certain situation. And then when it happens to you, like when it's happened to me in my own shows, that is great. That is actually hands-on experience. You come out of it saying, okay, this is what has happened. When you sit back and analyze, you'll be like, okay, this is what has happened. Okay, great. I know next time I'll make sure this doesn't happen. And that's precisely when something else will start malfunctioning. Yeah. So that's a constant process. If I have to give you actual live examples from my life, I do a lot of shows with where multimedia is an important aspect. Okay, this was one of the shows we premiered in our institute. The show was called Kathak Through the Ages, a massive show with about 25 dancers, and it's happening at Chaudhary Memorial. Everything is sorted. We've done tech rehearsals. Everything is sorted. So we always insist on tech rehearsals so that things are fine, technically smooth. Everything worked well, and this is the premiere of the show. We have a jam-packed house, people sitting on the aisle and all that, and then the first piece starts and the projection is not turned on. The multimedia is not appearing. The thing is, I was not there in the first piece, so that I can trigger it, I can see it. And there are 5 other dancers starting the piece, and they are panicking on stage. They are able to see, because the first entry was facing the screen, back to the audience facing the screen. They are seeing that it's not happening. I can from side wings, I can hear them speaking. The projection is not on, and I'm running from side wing to side wing, side wing to the console, trying to sort this out. And by somewhere along 4 minutes into the piece, it just turned on magically. Till today, I don't know why it turned off and why it turned on. See, I fear that if I know what the problem is, then at least there's a learning, and then we can get that sorted for maybe the future shows or future projects. This happened about 11 years ago, and till today I don't know the problem, and I don't know, because I don't know the problem, I don't know the solution as well, right? So it's such a strange scenario. What do you do about a scenario like this? Right.
Correct.
And several things like this, and suddenly a few months ago, I was in a show, I was handling the lights for the show. Out of nowhere, the lighting console crashed. Having set up the entire night, no, the previous night, everything is done. Again, we have a jam-packed house, an important show. The first thing that happens is the board crashes. And then I'm speaking on a microphone, like basically I'm speaking to the artists. They're already on stage. It is a live storytelling with music, that kind of show. And I'm telling the main speaker, I think you just need to buy time, and we are sorting out the console. The technicians were working on it to get it back on track. We were rebooting the system. So that took about 8 to 10 minutes. 10 minutes is a lot of time in a show. It's a lot of time. So by then, he was trying to engage with the audience. The thing is, what do you do? Like, really? This, I always believe that, you make sure that things are fine. That's also why we have professionals, we have people experienced at the console. But again, when things go wrong, you need to take control and, be able to manage with it. That's also there. So then we slowly, quickly, the crew got together, worked, and somehow we were able to get the board back on track, and then we started the show. So that happened. No, I have several such examples, many such examples. In my own show, I've programmed the lights, and I'm dancing. Everything is done. We use moving heads. There's a particular piece where I've created the lighting design very specifically with about 6 moving heads, and I sort of interact with each of the fixtures and things like that. That's a solo work that I've done. In this show happened last December in Bangalore. Again, in fact, through the day, I've done a lighting workshop. I've spoken about the usage fixture. Tech run has happened, smoothly. And then in the show, that one particular fixture did not turn on. That is a key fixture that didn't turn on in the show. Right. And then we had to work with it. So of course, my colleague who was on the board, so she was trying to manage the situation. I sort of got to understand on stage that, okay, this is not working. And I was trying to find another alternative. And the thing is, that's where working rapport comes into picture. So even without exchanging words, I had a rapport with her, because we have worked together on many shows and for a few years together now. And there is an unsaid communication that's going on between us, and we are managing the situation along together. So these are many such incidents that have happened for both in cases where I have been on stage as well as where I have been on the console. So yeah.
Agreed. It's amazing to hear the story, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure the show was excellent, and people loved it. I'm pretty sure for that. Varsha, any such
Yeah,
incidents?
well, no, that's
Yeah,
that is the beauty of performances, right? Performing arts. It's ephemeral. It's what happens that day,
correct.
that moment. So we make the best of what is available on hand, and push further and complete the show.
Agreed. Varsha, any such incidents has happened with you?
This happened, I mean, as simple as just the mic not working also can happen. And this,
Oh my. Talk about it. Talk
Yeah.
about it, really.
And we have had all the tech runs, and all the actors had, I mean, also I was dealing with school kids. I mean, so I bet sure that I do the tech at least twice or thrice for them to understand what is happening on stage, okay? Because they're too young to understand that. But they entered for a drama sequence on stage, the mics are not working. Then we thought, okay, maybe if it was not on or something. Then we just checked, everything is proper. We still don't know what is the issue. And till date, we really don't know what happened that day. But all the dialogues that the kids had practiced for the show were not told by them, but it was actually told by the competitors. So the kids were just doing actions for the final show. So I was like, I mean, oh god damn, I mean, they've learned all the dialogues for, let's say, 1.5, 2 months. And on the final day, they're just doing mime. They're just doing lip sync and mime. But the competitors, fortunately, we had a boy and a girl that day as a competitor. So we gave them the dialogues and they're reading. And we are actually telling them, now we have to tell for that guy. Now we have to tell for this. So we are telling them on the day of the show. This was one thing. And another time where we staged this production called Natyashastra. So again, this again, it was choreographed for the kids. So the tech run was, everything was done, the LED screens, all the other lighting works, everything is fine. But then when we actually play the audio, we see that only the audio is coming, but the LED screens, no visuals are actually appearing there. So I literally rushed to to my cabin, and I got the other laptop where the actual work was done. So I just connected that, and the entire show was done with proper visuals and the audio. But everyone was still clueless as to why it was not playing on the other laptop, which did play in the tech run. And after the show, at the almost like late night, 10:30 or 11, we checked with the other laptop and it starts working. We still don't know what happened. So sometimes I usually have a backup of all these small things, like what if this fails, I have this. What if this fails, I have this. So that backup has just increased even more now. Like I really don't know what happens then.
Again, I can now. I remember a very funny incident that happened to us. We were in one of the shows. We were presenting a Kathak sequence, and we are all on stage. And this particular show, it was only a music track, no visuals, nothing. It's a simple Kathak sequence. So and very important show, because we have the governor, the who's who from the government and from the industry sitting in the audience. Very important show. All of this happening, we are performing, and it's also going live telecast on some channels. Okay, that's the scene. We are on stage, and the person is, again, we have done tech runs. We don't do show without tech run. All of that has happened. Now while playing, I don't know how this has happened. The person has clicked the 1.5x speed. Okay, so the entire track is playing at 1.5 speed. So imagine our chakkars, our entire sequence is all sped up, and we finished the show in that speed. This is a crazy thing that happened.
Amazing. Improv is something I think the artists like you guys have to do it on everyday basis, I suppose.
And I feel at that point in time, the only thing that you have to do, you have to think is, it has happened, now what? You should not think, how did it happen? Because now it has happened. Now just think for the solution. That's all.
Yeah, we need to go with the flow and get through, basically. That's very important. In fact, as recent as day before yesterday in the show, again, a massive setup, everything's there. There are two sections to the show. The first half happened very smoothly. There's a little break. In the break, people are going up and down, and somebody has stamped on some cable. Something has happened like that. And on the LED wall, there's a patch now. So one section of the LED wall is not working. by the time we figured out where the problem was, it took us about 5 minutes. The show was continuing. By then, we reduced the show the content brightness. We just removed it. Then we were trying to figure out where the problem was. Then we realized that one of the cables has got squished and that has got slightly pulled. So we fixed that. Then we were trying to see if that is okay with by giving little brightness and seeing if it is fine. Then we got it right and then put the content back again. So this was as recent as 2 days ago. What do you do, right? Of course, we make sure there are cable managers. In fact, these are all professionally dealt with. There are cable managers. Everything is taped. It's all done in a very organized way. Even after all these things, somewhere some glitch can happen, and we
Yes.
still have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Correct. And that's the reason most of the artists, what I've known now, are great problem solver. They don't they
Yeah.
don't sit like, hey Bhagwan, kya ho gaya mere sath? It's like, no, okay, it's done deal. Let's just start the solution and find out something. So you come up with creative solutions, as sir said, or as Varsha said. So you come up with solutions, something or the other, like jugaad types, where it will run. So that is the great skill that
Yeah,
one should
definitely.
actually have.
We are constantly problem solving and firefighting. There's
Yeah.
no denying this. Constantly doing this, but again, we were able to do it easily with experience.
Correct. There's a very famous saying, no, a great sailor is only one who rides through the high tides and not someone who is at the harbor.
Absolutely,
It fits
absolutely.
perfectly well to you guys. Uh, Thank you so much. I loved the last part especially because that clearly gave me a confirmation that the episode that we were shooting, that we are doing right now, are with the right people. And the agenda that we had in our mind about making sure people understand the perspective of artists, and also make them understand that tech is also now part of this industry. It has been summed up, I think, beautifully. It couldn't have been better than this. Truly, from bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Keerthi sir and Varsha, for doing this on a Monday. On a Monday, I understand, but truly, thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure having you here.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. It was
Thank
a lot of fun, interacting and engaging with both of you. Thank you, Pramod, and thank you, Varsha. Looking
thank
forward
you,
to
sir.
keeping the conversation and the discussion going
Yes,
ahead.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
True, true. Thank you, Pramod. And yeah, I mean, I know it takes a lot of time to just coordinate with with people with other profession, and just to to get both of us on board. I know it takes in a lot of effort and time. So thank you for that. And yeah, we absolutely love this conversation on a Monday afternoon. Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to yet another episode of Espresso Mind. We'll see you at the next one. Thank you.